Pastor Chuck Blair here. This is our 10 minutes of more calm here at New Church Live, and it's wonderful to have you joining us this morning. Whether you're joining us with a lot of joy or a lot of sadness in your heart or with mixture, it's wonderful to have you here. Just really appreciate you taking the time to join with us in a little reflection this morning. So what we're looking at today is the idea of the volume at 10. Now, when I was a kid, and not everybody will remember these days, obviously, because we have a lot of younger folks who watch this throughout the day, but there'd be the volume knob, and the volume knob was always from 1 to 10. And sometimes the volume could get up to 10. And I think of that as life, right? The volume oftentimes gets up to 10. Sometimes those are things we choose that have gotten us there, sometimes not. But we all face that, that just where life just feels like, whoa, this is way too much. This is totally overwhelming. And how is it that we handle life when volume gets up to 10? Well, there's many things to think about here, and they're all important in terms of as we get into this idea of Noah and the ark. Now, for those of you joining us for the first time, we've been looking at this story, Noah and the ark. We've been looking at through the biblical commentary called Secrets of Heaven, which is canonical in the Christian New Church tradition, where Swedenborg talks about this deeper sense within it, and what the patterns actually how we could think of it. And again, think of a flood. And then he has this little chapter as we're moving on, and it's a chapter about community. It's interesting because he does that a number of times. Talk about the flood, and here we have this little chapter interjecting some thoughts on community. They're beautiful thoughts, and I am sure that they are in there just to remind us as we get ready for storms in life, how incredibly significant community is. As one person said, community is how we remember. And that was somebody who watches this mentioned that. And I think that's really true. So how does that kind of function? How does that work? And it's an important question, and it's important for us to wrestle with it and think about it. And the piece I want to come to on that, what I want to put out there is that there's a couple of thoughts here. One is what gets us to 10 is wildly different among people. I have discovered that for one person, one event which may only score a 5 for them, for another person just totally wipes them out. And vice versa. So we have to be really, really careful about what we consider to be a 10. And it's never about judging the other person and going like, well, really, that's only a 4. I don't know what you're complaining about. Car accidents aren't a big deal. Well, it may well be a huge deal for them. And just noticing, right, that there are these 10s, right? They're in different people, and we're going to go through them differently. And as we go through that, the other part of that is that traveling through this stuff in a community, what we're looking for, folks, as we seek to move forward is unity, not uniformity. I know when I face challenges, I really find it so helpful to get as many people, in my orbit who have perspective as possible. And it's not that they all have the same message. They all have a different message, but the messages are always something I need to hear at different times. And that's where I think we get a unity all coming together. Again, gets back to that orchestra idea versus uniformity, where it's all the exact same message, because there isn't. It's like sailing any storm, right? What works for one morning at 11 a.m. that may not work at Thursday at 3 p.m. when you're dealing with a storm. And you have to be able to navigate those different pieces. And even that I'm careful with, because I do believe it's God doing the navigating actually there for us. So folks, that's what to think about today is to think about, what does that actually look like for you? Like how do we deal with the volume at 10? And then noticing as well, there's this beautiful kind of end segment here with community where Swedenborg says this: heaven and its joy are never completely and exactly the same for one person as for another. Just as faith and love come in great variety, so do the heavens and the heavenly joy that love and faith contain. Wow, that's a powerful line. Just sit with that for a second. That idea that we go through these storms, we go through these challenges, we have these communities, and the faith and trust is that God is moving us. Like we're on this journey towards heaven. And some chapters in that book are really hard. And as a pastor, bad joke, say it all the time, is the only thing I know is that the end of the book is really good. Hard chapters, great book. And I think that's spirituality 101 and the Christian faith 101. And can we just keep on holding on to, again, that's where God is moving us. It's not to this place of uniformity. It's this place of great unity where all those voices are heard. All those voices are heard both in times of celebration and in times of dire need. They're all celebrated. Ready? All celebrate because they're all needed. And we have to just have ears to hear that, ears to hear, eyes to see, and a heart to understand, as is said in the Bible. So that's my thought for today, folks, and I hope that makes a lot of sense. One final pitch is we have a really good sign up for the 1,000 Gifts small group. It's actually going to be our largest offering. It's the largest offering I've ever done personally, and it's offered over 2 nights. We have a handful of slots that are open on Thursday night. So if you're interested in that, that'll be starting this week. Please go on to our website, www.newchurchlive.tv, plug into that, and then we'll send you out the Zoom link later on this afternoon. We'll be getting that out to everybody. So just putting that out there. So with that, dear friends, what we're going to do now is we're going to move into our meditative part of the service. If you're joining us for the first time, what happens? We ring a prayer bell. We get a breath. Then we move into a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we make comments on social media. Lots of folks leave those comments, later in the day, and that is totally fine as well. The place where we'll be reading live comments will be off of New Church Live's Facebook page. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath and the bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you home, and bring you peace. Amen. All right, dear friends. Oh, so nice to be able, I literally feel feel the joy of like us praying together. It's gonna make me teary. I just really enjoy that. It means more than you guys will ever know. All right. So let's take a look at what we got here. I got a lot of comments today. All right. Let's take a look here. Marcus, good morning to you. And Marcus, I will have to remind you, I found our technical glitch this morning. So me, the super tech sleuth, figured one little thing out. Sherry, good morning. Have a grand weekend. So agree with that. Betty, as a highly sensitive person, I didn't recognize this when I was younger. It takes self-awareness and lots of practice to management. Live and learn. Have a great weekend. Betty, that's really true. And this is the one I'm going to give you an example. Please, like, hold it lightly. As a pastor, I have been surprised at how hard it is when people lose pets. I grew up on a farm community. We had a farm that had a nursing home. Pets were like in and out all the time. And it's just so when people would get upset about that, I'd be like, but wait, it's actually a lot more than that for a lot of people. And that would be an example for me personally. So thanks for saying that. Shannon writes, good morning. Love this. Thank you so much for sharing. You are welcome, Shannon. Melissa writes, good morning. Happy Friday. This was so comforting to hear. Beautiful reminder of unity. Yeah, isn't it like great? I love the idea, Melissa, right? That God's giving us our own unique forms of love and joy. Like, how cool is that? And they're not like, well, I've got my joy, you've got your joy. It's like, hey, let me see what makes you happy. Let me see what lights you up. And that is such a fun conversation, gets into unity, uniformity, whole other sermon. But anyhow, kind of fun to think about. Carl, who always writes amazing things, buddy, thank you. Trust the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge God in all your ways, and God will protect your path. Amen to that, brother. Gene, good morning, my friend. Good morning to you, Gene, and thank you for the very sweet text message. Linda writes, I recently lost a girlfriend of over 50 years. Her family's decided on a private service, which left me feeling sad and incomplete. Yesterday, I lit a candle and wrote a goodbye letter to her, which led to journaling about some other issues. As my brother is in the hospital, seriously ill, I thank heaven for those tools that help to lower the number from 10. Linda, that's really well said. And isn't it kind of interesting too with that? Just that simple act. Like I've thought, like, why is it that candles do so much? And I don't, not that I have um, not that I have the right answer for that, but it just is kind of interesting, right? Like yesterday, was with a group and talking about moving through some issues that are really just filled with a lot of heartbreak and grief. And I just asked them to just sit with me as we lit a candle. And that was really important. Darlene, great to see you, my friend, and wonderful to have dinner over with you and your husband last night. And my dear buddy, Nathan, great to have you joining us this morning as well. So, folks, God bless. Have a great weekend. And, when the volume gets up to 10, go back to this archive service and hit play. There you go. All right, friends. God bless. Take care.